It looks like Myria is finally breaking out of that downtrend it's been stuck in for the last couple of months. And I think this is a good time to potentially looking at starting to reaccumulate Myria tokens. Welcome back to Bearman Crypto, where we talk all things crypto. So I've been tracking Myria for quite some time. The price since the token launched has literally been on a downward trend, as you can see round about here, where I started initially buying between the 0.006 and I even bought the top here when it was literally at 0.008, and this is round about the time that the nodes went live. Basically, the sale went live for the Myria nodes. As you can see, obviously, what happened to the price since then. I did panic sale as it went down, but again, here I have been watching the price and just tracking the price, and I think now it appears that it's breaking out of that downward trajectory and could be a good time to start to accumulate some Myria tokens before it fully really breaks out and starts to trend upwards. Of course, that is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you what I'm looking at. But Myria is one of those projects that I think could potentially do well in the next bull run. They've got over 250 games currently in development. They've got their node sales, which are currently live at the moment. The nodes are going for about $4,500. So one of the strategies that you could check out is basically you can accumulate a little bit, not the full $4,500 worth of tokens. Accumulate some and hold for a few months. Who knows that those tokens could reach the value of 4,500 if the token was to pump, and you could effectively buy yourself a node effectively for a lower cost. That's one of the strategies that I'm considering. But in terms of Myria itself, so if you don't know much about Myria, so Myria is essentially a Web3 gaming ecosystem. It's a layer 2 blockchain. Basically, they specialize in using ZK tech. They're also a game development studio. And as I mentioned earlier, they've got over 250 games in development. And basically, they've got also got a marketplace where you can buy various NFTs as well. You can see here they basically talk about the sort of speeds that they're working with, surpassing over 9,000 transactions per second. I would assume that is, which is pretty fast. And basically, their studio side of things, you can see here just some of the stuff that is being built on Myria using Myria Studios. So basically, what they're creating here is a play to earn model. So Meta Rush is one of those games which is currently in, I believe it's in playtest at the moment. And if we have a look in terms of the actual ecosystem itself, recently Dragonery chose to actually move over and start building on Myria. So there is developers that are moving over to Myria and starting to build on the platform. And if you're interested as well, you can create your own Myria wallet, which then gives you access to the Myria marketplace. So that's something to check out if you're definitely interested in acquiring some Myria for the long term and getting involved and interacting with basically their ecosystem. Here it talks about staking. The introduction of staking will be initiated after the implementation of protocol fees. So this is one of the things that I personally think that they need to prioritize really, because I think that will really help to alleviate the selling pressure on the token. and I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen such a downward price trajectory over the last couple of months, because basically the node has gone live and they've started emitting tokens, and people have been getting those tokens and just selling them, and I don't really think that has necessarily helped the price. But if you are a node owner, you can see here in terms of the tokenomics, over 36% of the token supply, which I believe is the total, and max supply is about 50 billion. So 36% of that is reserved specifically for node emissions. So these emissions have started back in, I believe it was about April, when the nodes went live. So they've obviously been emitting these tokens on a daily basis, and I think this is what has potentially contributed to some of that selling pressure that we've basically seen. So I think Myria is definitely one to be keeping an eye out on. So you can see here 50 billion total and max supply. You can see here, if you wanted a full picture in terms of the sort of price trajectory we've been facing over the last couple of months since the token went live, you can see just how much it's fallen. It's basically down 80% since April, basically, around about the same time that the actual token itself launched. That obviously hasn't been helped by the overall crypto market and the way it's been performing. You can see here at the moment, it's on the day it's up 11.6%, but that's obviously down to a lot of the performance in terms of what Bitcoin has been doing over the last couple of days. So it's been pulling along the rest of the market with it. But this is basically what I'm just tracking for myself at the moment. You can see here, basically it's broken out of this downward price trajectory here around about this point here. So it broke out and then it came back to retest this trend line. So what I'm also still keeping an eye out, that it continues to hold this trend line, doesn't fall below this trend line, essentially the white line, and anywhere around here, as long as it's above this trend line or within the trend line, it's definitely a good zone to be accumulating, and I'll continue to accumulate and obviously keep a close eye out on it, that it obviously doesn't start to tank. And you can see here the volume has returned as well as the price action. So obviously the price pump that we've seen is supported by some good volume. So this is just something to keep an eye out on, but that's all really I wanted to share with you in this video. I'm starting to reaccumulate my Myria tokens. I think it's a great time to be buying potentially for the long term. But that's all really I want to share with you in this video. I hope you enjoy that content, and I'll see you in my next video.